I am way underdressed for how cold it is today. Seriously. Okay, so I got a question today from a reader who said that he had recently found me on Instagram and then just kind of started falling down the rabbit hole, and was surprised to find out, one, that I'm a family man, and two, that I am a religious person. He said that he doesn't find very many people who are in the world of menswear who kind of fit into both of those categories. I don't necessarily know if I'd have to think. I mean, I obviously know a few guys who are family men, and then men with whom I work, most of them are religious as well, but I have no idea if that's just anecdote or if that's evidence. Anyway, he asked me a question about how I find balance between those two things, because a lot of times within religious communities, dressing well is considered to be a form of showing off, which is considered to be vanity. And I thought, it's a good question. I don't know how many of my followers are actually religious, but I think that even if you're not, a lot of the principles, and at least for the way that I think about this, can kind of apply to you with everything. So I have two different ways of looking at this that go hand in hand, and this is the whole reason that I'm able to feel comfortable doing what I do and still being religious. Oh, it's so cold. First, I believe that there are things in this life that are sacred. For me, that is my God. That is my relationship with Him. That is the doctrines that I follow. That is a lot of the things that fall within the church. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a Mormon. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Died in the wool, did the whole 2-year mission thing with name tags and everything. I was in Canada, Spanish speaking. But anyway, I believe that there are things in life that are sacred, and I think one of the saddest parts about modern culture is that the majority of people don't really hold anything to be sacred anymore. And I don't think that you need to believe in, you certainly don't need to be a member of the Mormon Church. I don't even think you need to be a Christian or believe in one of the Abrahamic religions to benefit from the idea that there are things in life that are sacred. There are things in life that you take more seriously, things for which you have reverence. For a lot of people, I have quite a few men whom I admire, and they even fall more into the lines of heathenry. But for them, the things that they hold to be sincere or sacred are their family, their culture, their traditions, all of these things that tie us and connect us with other people, especially those people in our lives who are the most important. Those are things that should be treated as sacred, regardless of whether or not it has a religious base to it. To that effect, because there are things that in my life I hold to be sacred, I believe that in order to treat those sacred things with the best respect that I can, that means I have to present myself and act the best way that I possibly can. And so for me, that's why part of the culture of the Mormon Church is that people get dressed up to go to church on Sundays. That's why the missionaries wear suits and ties. That's why our church leadership, the men, always wear dark suits and ties, and things are kept relatively conservative, is because we're doing the best for our God. And for me, that's why I dress my best on Sundays, because for me it's a way to show respect for the thing in my life that I find to be the most sacred. Now, to counter that, I will tell you that what I wear to church, I always just wear a white shirt, and then I only have about 4, maybe 5 suits that I actually wear on rotation, and it's not any of my really loud or my fun stuff. It's navies, grays, and browns. And the reason for that is, in this same vein, this idea of things that are sacred is because when I go to church, it's not about me. It's not about how much attention I can get, or whether or not I'm the best dressed guy there, or if I'm higher in status within that tribe or within that group. It really doesn't matter. I'm there for the thing which I hold to be sacred. I'm there to worship and learn about my God. And so I don't dress in a way that draws any attention to myself. I just dress the best that I absolutely and possibly can. And for me, that's how I've been able to find the right balance in what I do for a living and how I help men dress well, but hopefully prevent them from doing it in a way that leads to vanity. Because like I've said this before, and I'll say it 1,000 times again over the next however long, Dressing well should not be your substance. It should not be how you define yourself as a man. It's only one of many tools that you should have in your kit as a way to present yourself the best that you can to the world. Even from my own religious perspective, I feel an obligation to, even though I'm not a full-time missionary anymore, I feel an obligation to represent my church in the best light that I possibly can, because for a lot of people, maybe you are one of them, who doesn't have a lot of interaction with members of my church, I may be the main or even the only representation of that, and so it's my obligation and my responsibility to represent that as well as possible. So, do your best to treat sacred things with the seriousness and respect with which they deserve. Don't make it about you. That's so you can dress well while being a religious person, or really anybody who holds anything sacred.